From KPRC, you're watching Local 2 News at 11.
And we do begin with breaking news out of Pasadena. We're told a Pasadena police officer has shot and killed a bank robbery suspect. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joel Eisenbaum.
And I'm Lauren Freeman. Investigators tell us it all started when the suspect apparently robbed the bank and then left a package with a teller saying it was a bomb. Local 2 reporter Marisa Reyes is live on the scene and has the latest.
Good morning, Lauren and Joel. The bomb squad is assessing the situation right now inside of the Chase Bank. At this point, we just don't know how dangerous or how big that package could possibly be. Joining me now is the chief of police from Pasadena, Bud Corbett. Chief, what we've learned is that one of your officers actually confronted the suspect in front of that shopping center by the Starbucks. Tell us what you know.
That's correct. The officer was responding to a call of an alarm at the bank, and very shortly after that there was some updated information providing a description of the suspect, and the officer pulled up about perhaps 40 yards west of the bank on a motorcycle, and he confronted the suspect. The suspect initially didn't see him, and the suspect's attention was apparently directed to a fireman who happened to be in the front parking lot of the bank. The officer hollered for the fireman to get out of the way, and the suspect then turned his attention toward the officer. The officer with the gun drawn directed the suspect to get to the ground numerous times. The suspect did not. He walked over to the strip center right directly west of the bank, and the officer became concerned that the suspect may enter one of the businesses there and perhaps take a hostage. So he closed in on the suspect, still with his gun drawn, again multiple times, directed him to get to the ground. He did not. In the course of the suspect's travel from the bank parking lot to the strip center, the officer noticed a gun protruding from the pocket of the suspect's coveralls. The suspect was directly in front of one of the businesses there. The officer closed into a point of about perhaps 15 to 25 feet, told the suspect to get to the ground. He did not. The suspect attempted to draw his weapon from the pocket of his coveralls, and the officer's assessment was that the suspect's gun got hung up on his clothing. The officer responded with several rounds of gunfire. He dropped the suspect where he was, and the suspect was deceased where he fell.
And so he is in front of the Starbucks right now. How is your officer doing?
The officer is doing pretty well. I mean, naturally, it's a traumatic situation especially for him. And but I would say that you know, having seen these situations from time to time over the years, he's doing rather well. But in any case, the suspect is not directly in front of the Starbucks. He's actually, I think it's a check cashing business right next door to the Starbucks, and the suspect is on the pavement in front of that business.
All right. Well, thanks so much for your time, Chief. I appreciate it. Again, the robbery suspect is dead in front of the shopping center there. The chief told us that this happened about 9:30 this morning. Apparently, the robbery suspect got away with some money from the Chase Bank. Of course, we'll have more details for you coming up at 4 o'clock this afternoon. For now, we're live in Pasadena. Marisa Reyes, KPRC Local 2.
All right, Marisa, thank you.
This is Fox 26 News at Noon. Connected to you.
And thanks so much for joining us. I'm Tom Ziska.
And I'm Melinda Spalding. Today on Fox 26 News at noon, an attempted bank robbery is brought to an end when police opened fire on the suspect.
The jury
this noon, a bank robbery, a possible bomb, and a dead suspect.
Pasadena police say a guy held up a Chase Bank on Fairmont Parkway. It happened about 9:30 this morning. He left a box and told people in the bank that there was a bomb inside that box. Not far away, an officer spotted the man, tried to arrest him. That officer says the suspect reached for a gun, and the officer opened fire, shot him right there. Right now, police are not sure whether the box left in the bank actually contained a bomb as we look at these Skyfox pictures, but a bomb squad has been called out to give it a once-over.
Chase Bank on Fairmont Parkway around 9:25 this morning, leaving behind a suspicious package before fleeing the scene. A short time later, he was dead.
Reporter Kevin Quinn spoke with an eyewitness and investigators, and he joins us now live. Kevin?
Alona, first, the latest from those investigators. Turns out there never was any bomb here. Most of the day, this bank and nearby businesses have been evacuated as the bomb squad did its work. What they found inside, about an 8-inch piece of pipe wrapped in duct tape. We are told it had electrical wires coming out of it, but it was not a bomb.
At about 9:30 this morning, Amanda Reinhart was driving to work, pulling into the parking lot here by this Chase Bank when she saw something peculiar.
He was walking real fast and he had a blue bandana over his face.
Reinhart says the man was not running and police were closing in on him. She had no idea why. His apparent getaway truck located later just a parking lot away.
They were telling him to stop, get on the ground, and he put his hand up and he said no, and he shook his head.
Police say the man had just robbed this Chase Bank. They say he placed a package on a counter inside as business began on a busy Monday morning. Employees feared it might be a bomb. An officer responding to a silent alarm was the first to spot the suspect fleeing here in this strip center just yards from the bank.
The suspect attempted to draw the handgun from the pocket of his coveralls, and the officer responded with about 5 rounds of gunfire, struck the suspect at least once, dropped him on the sidewalk.
The gunfire blew through the window of this check cashing business. Police say the suspect never got off a single shot. They cannot say how many times he was wounded. The cash he stole found near his body.
It was scary. It was sad. It's really sad that he felt like he had to do that to get money.
Authorities so far have not yet released the suspect's name, pending notification of his relatives. Meantime, that officer, we are told, a 15-year veteran of the police force here. Tonight at 6 o'clock, why investigators say the suspect may have actually struck before nearby here in Pasadena, and how this case is being investigated to determine that. We're live in Pasadena. Kevin Quinn, 13 Eyewitness News.
Robbery suspect is dead, gunned down, police say, when he tried to run from an officer. It happened at the Chase Bank at the 5100 block of Fairmont Parkway in Pasadena. Investigators are still at that scene, and so is 11 News reporter Sherman Chow. Sherman, what happened?
Oh, it's quite a tale. 8 hours later, there's still an active crime scene behind me, the Chase Bank that was robbed. You can see it's still wrapped in crime scene tape. Crime scene unit, officers, investigators still here. The man was shot in front of that Starbucks. What is not here is the bomb that was brought in by the robber. That has been moved to a secure location. FBI telling us it is assisting in dismantling it, and it appears to be a pipe bomb. The robber brought that package into the Chase Bank about 9:30 this morning. An alarm was sounded along with a description, a man in his 50s wearing a false beard and overalls. A motorcycle officer responded. He pulled up and he saw the robber and a fireman both in the parking lot.
For the fireman to get out of the way. The officer, for the last time, told the suspect to get to the ground. He did not. The suspect attempted 2-3 times to remove the pistol from his pants. The officer's impression was that the suspect's gun got hung up on his clothing.
The officer fired about a half-dozen shots, and late today, Pasadena police confirmed it believes that the same man held up a Wells Fargo bank also on Fairmont, about a mile west of here. That was a month ago. The man fit the same description, hit also in the morning, and was carrying what he said was an explosive device. He did show it, though did not leave it at the bank. The officer involved is a 15-year veteran, and he has been placed on routine 3-day administrative leave. The suspect has been identified, but that name is not being released, and we are told that there was a, quote, large sum of money lying next to the body after the suspect was shot. We are live here in Pasadena. Sherman Chow, 11 News.
Well, it has been quite a day. Gunfire, a bank robbery, and a bomb scare all happened this morning at a busy strip center in Pasadena. A man robbed the Chase Bank on Fairmont Parkway about 9:30 this morning. An officer spotted the suspect outside a nearby shopping center. The man refused to stop, and the officer says he saw the man reaching for a gun.
The officer closed in on him because the officer was concerned that the suspect might try to enter one of the businesses there and perhaps capture a hostage.
Well, police, the officer says he fired at least 5 times, killing the suspect. Investigators say the man left behind a suspicious device there at the bank. After evacuating the area, the bomb squad determined that it was not an explosive.
Investigators tonight looking into the possibility that the man who was shot and killed after robbing a Pasadena bank today may have struck before. Police say the description of today's robber and how he carried out the crime at the Chase Bank on Fairmont is similar to that of a robbery of a Wells Fargo bank in Pasadena 3 weeks ago. This time, the man put a suspicious device on the counter and demanded money. He then walked away quickly, but a police officer spotted him. That policeman says he fired at least 5 times as the robber reached for a gun.
they were telling him to stop, you know, get on the ground, and he put his hand up and he said no, and he shook his head.
There were no explosives in the device left at the bank. It was just a pipe wrapped in duct tape and wires, and that robber remains unidentified.